7. In today's top stories, UNLV football advances to the Mountain West Championship.
The Nevada Conservatory Theater reimagines the classic Cinderella fairy tale.
And we bring you updates regarding the international unrest in Dublin. All that and more on today's episode of Studio G.
Now, news that matters to you on campus and beyond. Live. You're watching Studio G.
Thank you for joining us on Studio G. My name is Nasha Ali.
And I'm Caitlin Bustamante.
Violent riots erupted in Dublin, Ireland on Thursday after a stabbing which left 3 children and 2 adults injured. The clashes between the police and far-right protesters rioting against immigrants in Ireland led to the arrest of 34 people. The police chief, Drew Harris, said that the police could not have anticipated that the stabbings would be triggered by such disorder. Harris also described the rioters as a complete hooligan faction driven by the far right, and the protest erupted after the stabbing when the police announced a man in his 50s was detained for the attack without releasing his nationality. The riots led to the destruction of 4 buses, 1 tram, and damaged 11 police vehicles. Here's a statement from Harris speaking on Friday.
What we saw last night was an extraordinary outbreak of violence, and we have to then respond accordingly in terms of our graduated response to the policing of disorder. But these are scenes that we have not seen in decades. But what is clear that people have been radicalised through social media, over the internet, and so you have a terrible event. And I don't want to lose focus on the terrible event in terms of the assault, dreadful assault on the school children and their teacher. Like, that's a full investigation that's ongoing.
The Irish police said they weren't considering terrorism as a motive for the stabbing attack.
3 20-year-old Palestinian college students were shot and injured in Burlington, Vermont on November 25th while visiting for Thanksgiving break. CNN reporter Polo Sandoval has more.
Here he is in Vermont, small storybook town. We're just shocked.
This morning, one of 3 Palestinian college students shot over the weekend is out of the hospital, according to a source close to the families. The other 2 remain in ICU. The mother of victim Hisham Awartani says her son has a long road to recovery.
He has another month in hospital and then several months of physical therapy. But currently, the doctors say that he's lost functional mobility in his legs.
Relatives say the men were visiting Vermont on their Thanksgiving break when they were shot Saturday night.
The 3 of them decided they'd go around the block. They like to walk around the neighborhood when they're there. They've each of the other boys have been to my mother's house for Thanksgiving twice, and Hisham has been visiting Burlington for about 10 years, and so he knows the community very, very well.
They were just walking, talking amongst themselves. They were wearing their kafiyas, which are traditional Palestinian scarves, and this gentleman stepped out of the dark and pulled out a handgun and fired 4 times.
Investigators are trying to determine if they were the targets of a hate crime.
There's no one with common sense who can think about 3 young men, 2 of whom were wearing kafiyas, who were speaking a mixture of English and Arabic, walking down a street to suddenly and randomly be, without apparently any other motive, attacked by someone and shot by that person, and not think that that seems like a crime driven by hate.
Officers located the suspect, 48-year-old Jason Eaton, Sunday afternoon near the scene of the attack. Police say he lives in an apartment building in front of the shooting scene. According to an affidavit of probable cause, Eaton told ATF agents, "I've been waiting for you." Investigators say a pistol found in his apartment matches the shell casings at the scene, and that Eaton acquired the gun legally just a few months ago. He was arraigned Monday and pleaded not guilty. Eaton is being held without bail. The families of the victims released a joint statement Monday calling the attack a crime fueled by hate and saying they welcome the investigation and pursuit of hate crime charges.
These three young men grew up in Ramallah. They were best friends from growing up. They grew up under military occupation, and who would imagine that they would come to a place like this to celebrate Thanksgiving, and this is when their lives would be at risk.
Take one.
Federal prosecutors in Vermont are still working to determine if the school shooting was a hate crime.
A ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is being extended for 2 more days as more Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners are being traded. Here is National Security Councilman spokesman John Kirby at a White House briefing on the topic from yesterday.
We welcome the announcement just a little bit ago, I think in the last hour or so, by Qatar, that the humanitarian pause in Gaza, now in its 4th day, will be extended for another 2 days through Thursday morning Israel time. This humanitarian pause has already brought a halt to the fighting, together with a surge of humanitarian assistance. Now, in order to extend the pause, Hamas has committed to releasing another 20 women and children over the next 2 days. We would, of course, hope to see the pause extended further, and that will depend upon Hamas continuing to release hostages. The president has been deeply engaged on this process throughout the Thanksgiving weekend. He spoke with the Emir of Qatar at a very critical moment to help resolve an impasse on the 2nd day of the pause. And then yesterday he spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu with a focus on working towards an extension of the pause, the extension that, quite frankly, we're seeing today.
So far, 69 Israeli hostages of the estimated 240 that were abducted during the October 7th attack have been released, with Israel releasing 150 Palestinian prisoners being released in the trade. We'll be back with more Studio G after the break.
Hello? Mom, you gotta stop this. I'm in a library, okay? What could happen?
Yeah, stuff happens. 1 in 4 college students end up in the ER. That's why you need Emergency. Everything you need to handle an emergency. Share important info with your family and friends. Feeling unsafe? Help is 1 tap away with Urgent Alert. Upload your insurance card and your medical consent form so your family can speak to medical staff. Download Emergency now while it's still free, before stuff happens.
Hi, I'm E.J. Williams. Each year, millions of animals are abandoned, and more than 1 million are euthanized before they can be rescued. Organizations like American Humane are working to harness the healing power of the human-animal bond, as animals can be trained as life-saving service and therapy dogs to help veterans, the elderly, and children with special needs to overcome the obstacles of everyday life. To find out how you can help give animals and the people they help a new leash on life, please visit AmericanHumane.org.
Welcome back to Studio G. Let's get back into it.
The Nevada Conservatory Theater is reimagining a classic fairy tale through performances of Cinderella, a pantomime for Las Vegas. Augustine Ballesteros plays stepsister Fajera in the production and joins us for an exclusive in-studio interview. Let's send it to Manny with more.
What's up, Rebels? This is Manny Garcia here in studio, here to talk to you about a new show that's right here on campus called Cinderella, a pantomime for Las Vegas. Now, I know what you're thinking. I've heard this story before, but you don't know this version of Cinderella. It's a modern remix of a classic tale that we all know and love. And here in studio, we have with me Augustine, and he plays one of the stepsisters in the show. Augustine, tell me about the show. What's it about?
It is very much just like you said. It's a modern remix of Cinderella, but we've changed a bit of the roles. There's a lot of gender fluidity in there. Just like you said, I'm playing one of the stepsisters alongside Drew Callahan and Daz Weller, and it's such an amazing experience. And starting this kind of journey was really exciting and new. And when you get to learn about something like a pantomime, you get to learn a lot. Like, there's so much room for audience interaction and just callbacks and forths, and it's such an invigorating part of theater when you get to learn about it and how it works.
Exactly. And what exactly makes this pantomime so unique? Let's talk about this audience interaction in the show and bringing them into the show, bringing them into this fantasy world.
Man, you just get different characters on stage, like Buttons, who's brilliantly played by Sebastian. He's really like the link between the audience and the characters. And it's a thing where it's as simple as, hi, my name is this. How are you guys doing? Or, hey, can you guys do this? Or, hey, when I say my name is this, you guys are going to respond with this. And it's just being able to take opportunities to invite the audience into the world whenever you can. It's such a rewarding experience, especially when you get an audience who's really inviting and just fun. I mean, you never really forget that.
You never don't, and you really never forget that experience in theater. I've been through it when I went through high school, and you went through it. Why is that experience so special to so many people like you and me?
I mean, for me, it's just the people you meet along the way. I don't imagine I would have had nearly as much fun as I did on this if I didn't go through the things that I did with these people in this ensemble and in this kind of family. I mean, when you have such a group of beautiful, talented, and just creative people, you're bound to make magic on that stage, and it makes it all worthwhile when you get on that stage and you do it.
And there's no better way that I could have said it better than that. It's magic on that stage, and you can see them November 24th to December 10th, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, December 10th. You can get your tickets at UNLV-tickets.com. And we're going to take it back to the desk right now with Naja and Caitlin.
Discounted tickets are available for $15 at the box office.
After the break, we take a look at the Rebels' last regular season game that took place this past Saturday at Allegiant Stadium.
And we bring you updates from the Las Vegas Raiders. All that and more when Studio G returns.
I'm Dr. Charles Braddock speaking on behalf of the Texas UIL and Texas Sports Concussion Partnership. By now, players, coaches, and parents are well aware that concussions are among the top safety issues for student athletes, which is why it's up to you and all of us to watch for any signs of a concussion, because a concussion is a traumatic brain injury with potentially life-altering effects. Let's work together and keep our head in the game. And when in doubt, sit it out.
When a crisis hits, close to home and across the globe, nonprofits are on the front lines, ready to serve, healing, nurturing, rescuing, protecting, inspiring. The work of philanthropic organizations has never been more important, and it's donors and volunteers like you who make all this possible. Thank you. The Nonprofit Alliance.
I can solve difficult problems for a Fortune 500 company.
I can run a successful business.
I can put my military experience to work for your company.
I can manage your home improvements.
I can publicize your message.
I can teach your children.
But I can't put my skills to work for your organization
if I'm not given the opportunity.
Nearly 50 million Americans have disabilities. Capitalize on their talents with employment practices that benefit everyone. Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
Welcome back. This past Saturday, the Rebels and the Spartans duked it out on the field. Here's more with reporter Manny Garcia.
The higher the pedestal, the harder the fall. And today the Rebels fell hard. There's no denying it, folks. The Rebels lost to the San Jose Spartans in a game that the Rebels absolutely needed to win in order to host the Mountain West title game right here at home. The Spartans got things going on early in the first few minutes of the game with a touchdown on the opening drive. Rebel defense tried their best to hold the Spartans down to just a field. Jaden Jet Thomas was the star player of today's game, scoring 2 touchdowns for the Rebels. Corey Thompson Jr. was another standout today, scoring his first ever touchdown of his entire career. Special teams Jose Pisano also stepped up to help deliver a field goal for the Rebels. Despite the Rebels' strong desire to win, it was no match for the strong offensive performance from the Spartans, who scored 4 touchdowns throughout the game. Despite the crushing loss, this is not the end for this Rebel squad. Far from it. The Rebels are still in play for the title. The catch is, now it's all left up to chance. Will the chances work out in favor for Barry Odom and his team? Stay tuned to find out.
Thanks, Manny. The Mountain West Championship will take place at Allegiant Stadium on Saturday at 12 p.m.
From Rebels to Raiders, here's Angie Martinez with an update on the Silver and Black.
Reserve safety Roderick Teamer of the Las Vegas Raiders was arrested on Saturday night for DUI and speeding and has now been released from the team. Teamer had been activated off injury reserve earlier that day and played in 6 games for the Silver and Black this season. It was reported a Metro officer spotted Teamer's Dodge Durango going 91 miles per hour in a 65 mile per hour zone near Jones Boulevard. In other Raiders news, they took on defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs led by the young phenom Patrick Mahomes. The Raiders continued to look like a new team with playoff hopes early on in the game as Aiden O'Connell delivered a strike to Jacoby Myers, who shedded a tackler and scored. They followed this with a huge Josh Jacobs scamper down the left sideline to put the Raiders up 14-0 early. After this point, the Chiefs' offense started to flow, and with a 1-yard punch-in from Isaiah Pacheco and a 3-yard touchdown pass to Justin Watson on 3rd and goal, Kansas City tied up the game before halftime. The Chiefs dominated the second half, scoring another short run from Pacheco and a 39-yard catch and run for a touchdown to extend the lead by Rashee Rice. The final score of the game was 31-17, and the Raiders fall to 5-7 on the season, giving them an uphill battle for a playoff spot this season. For Studio G, this is Andrew Martinez. Now, back to the studio.
After the bye week, the Raiders take on the Vikings at home on December 10th.
After the break, we'll be back with Andrew Martinez telling you about all things weather.
And scoop on how some students are getting into shape for the holidays using resources located here on campus.
One more time before you wake up in the wild.
Our natural world needs us now. Step by step, side by side, together, we can find a way to ensure that all life on Earth can thrive. To learn more about how you can help protect and conserve nature, visit nature.org.
Every year, 4.5 million young adults between the ages of 18 and 24 visit the ER.
It's every parent's nightmare.
UMergency gives you all the tools you need to quickly and effectively manage your family's emergency. UMergency provides instant access to vital resources, customized to your student's campus and local community, digital consent form, and built-in urgent alert button. UMergency gives you peace of mind when you need it most. Download your UMergency app now.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
Welcome back to Studio G. With the cooler temperatures upon us, let's send it over to Angie Martinez for a full weather rundown.
And now, this is Studio G weather.
And welcome to Studio G weather. I'm Andrew Martinez, and let's get right into today's forecast. So starting out with our current temperature, as you can see, it is going to be 59 degrees outside. Partly cloudy skies, so without that sun coming through, it is still going to be a bit chilly. 5 to 10 mile an hour winds, so it is still going to be just a bit windy, and that without the sun, it's definitely going to make it a bit colder outside still. So looking across the valley, we have some pretty stable temperatures all across the valley. Looking at Summerlin at a 55, North Las Vegas at 56, and Sunrise as well. We have Las Vegas at 58 and Enterprise at 53, and then Henderson as well as Boulder City, Henderson at 55 as well as Boulder City at 53 degrees. And then for your 7-day forecast, starting off with today, it's going to be a high of 59 with a low of 39. That high is going to stay 59 throughout Wednesday and Thursday with lows of 40. And then into the beginning of the weekend, it's going to dip down a little bit to 56 degrees with lows going down a little bit to the high 30s. And then as the weekend approaches with Sunday and Monday, temperature is going to go back up a little bit. You see on Sunday we have a little bit more sun out. And Monday the temperature will go back up into the low 60s with the low of 43. And then for your evening planner tonight, we have today at 3 p.m. when the sun is still out, it's going to be about 58 degrees. Big drop off as the sun goes down and the moon comes out till 9 p.m. It's going to be 46 degrees, and then at 12 a.m. rolling over into tomorrow, it'll be about 44 degrees. So make sure if you're going out tonight, you're wearing a coat or a jacket because it is going to get pretty chilly out there, especially without the sun. And that's going to be all for me today. Now sending it back to the studio.
Thanks for that weather report, Andrew.
With the holidays approaching, many students have been looking for ways to stay active during the holidays. Reporter Shantae Amani shares resources around campus that can help you kickstart those New Year's resolutions.
Many of us may have felt bloated due to the holidays. I got to speak with fitness instructor Maggie Lee to show us how students can stay in shape.
So Zumba in and of itself is a Latin dance-inspired workout, which is why you might often hear salsa, bachata, merengue, cumbia, which I do include those in my class, but I also try to include songs that people may be familiar with on the radio. That way they're learning a little bit about Latin culture and its dances, but also pumping it up to some jams that they might sing to while dancing in the car.
For other ways to stay active during the holidays, you can visit the Recreation and Wellness Center's website, and there you can find what instructor has classes that interest you to stay in shape during the holidays. I'm Shantae Amani reporting for Studio G.
The resources at the Recreation and Wellness Center is included in your student tuition. All you need to do is show your Rebel student ID to use the facilities available.
Enchant is back in town at the Las Vegas ballpark. The immersive experience captures the wonder of the holiday season with an ice skating maze, holiday storefronts, and themed nights. Take a sneak peek at what Enchant has in store for you this holiday season. Enchant will be open from November 24th to December 31st with ticket prices starting at $34 for adults and $24 for kids. For more information, visit enchantchristmas.com.
As always, thank you for joining us today for another edition of Studio G.
Tune in on Thursday at 12 p.m. for our final show of the semester.